Hey everybody, welcome to the all-new three-man Power Trip podcast. I'm your host, Boner.
And I'm your host, Lucas.
And I'm your host, Jordan.
We started this podcast because we're all huge sports fans, and this is all new to us, so take it easy on us. I guess we'll go through and say what teams we're a fan of. I'm a huge Minnesota Viking fan,
And I'm a huge Dallas Cowboy fan.
And I'm a huge Baltimore Ravens fan.
and mostly this podcast is just going to be us, talking news, telling scores, predictions, all that kind of stuff, and eventually maybe we'll do something else too. Add some NBA. We're not really sure yet. We're going to see how this goes. So, all right, now we're going to give a recap of last week's games, starting with Thursday night's game.
And the Thursday night game was the Steelers and the Browns. The Browns ended up winning that game 21-7. Everybody knows what happened at the end of it. But the other point is,
Especially Mason Rudolph.
Yeah, Mason Rudolph. But the other point is Odell Beckham. Are they wasting his talent there?
I think so. I don't think he's going to be there next year. I don't even know if Freddie Kitchens is going to be there next year. This team is not who we thought they were going to be.
Look good on paper.
You were saying, the Eagles team back in the day with who was in that?
Oh,
Vince Young.
Colin Jenkins, Nambi Asamoah. He went out and got those free agent acquisitions and really looked good on paper. Never turned out though on the field.
No. And I don't understand it, to be honest with you. I mean, the offensive line isn't very good, but that defense is really good. They've got some good corners. They've got some good D linemen.
Yeah. As Jordan pointed out, though, they're really good on paper, but they haven't really translated it to the field. They did get the win, though. So.
But think about it. I mean, you give Baker Mayfield's not that bad. I think he had a better year last year, but you got Kareem Hunt, Nick Chubb, Jarvis Landry, Odell Beckham,
Njoku when he's healthy.
and Joker. What if any other quarterback had those weapons? I mean, why is this not working? It doesn't really make any sense.
I mean, you can go back to scheme if you want or whatnot, but Brady's worked with a hell of a lot less.
He's barely throwing it to Odell, which is odd.
Well, even Jarvis Landry played better in Miami. Who was the quarterback?
Yeah, can't even name it.
Tannehill.
Oh, was it Tannehill? I didn't know off the top of my head.
Because it was Tannehill and then a couple other names.
Matt Moore, maybe.
Yeah, Matt Moore.
He was there for a while. But yeah, I mean that game. I mean, they won, but did they really?
Yeah, whenever they win, even when they win, they lose. So
even when they win, they lose. Oh, great.
What's the next game?
Oh, we got Rams in Chicago. Pretty much with that, the Rams came away with the win. There's kind of two key takeaways. Is Todd Gurley going back to his old self and finally giving them the ball again. I guess on the opposite side of the field is Trubisky. Is his days numbered over there in Chicago?
I think so.
I think so. They benched him at the end of the game.
For
They said it was medical, but a lot of people don't think so. I don't think Matt Nagy wanted him as a quarterback.
This year particularly, he has not produced. Last year he was solid, so there was a lot of hope in Chicago going into this season, but I just don't think it has translated.
Look what they gave up to move up to pick him up. Who else was available in that draft? Was that the Watson draft?
I think so.
Watson,
Mahomes, Watson.
Well, I remember on draft day,
John
Fox. They went ahead and traded John Fox, and you know who the hell they were drafting.
That's terrible.
That is very terrible.
It kind of reminded me of Trubisky, kind of tied in with Baltimore and Flacco. I think what the team needs is they need a different quarterback with a different energy.
I think they're wasting that defense too because they're kind of in their window right now with that defense because you're not going to be able to pay all those guys.
Khalil Mack, Floyd, Eddie Jackson. You got Amos in the other safety spot.
And now they're going to have to start all over again with a quarterback probably. So unless they make a trade for maybe Cam Newton or
Phillip Rivers will be on the market.
Yeah, I hear what you guys are saying, but about the Rams, the Rams are 6-4, and what are we thinking about them? Are they who we thought they were? I don't think they're quite as good as last year's.
Their offense isn't as high flying as it was last year.
I agree with that.
I think and Gurley's not really doing much.
Now with Gurley, are we seeing the end of Gurley with his arthritis in his knee?
He's on a pretty big contract, so
I do think
we'll have to see.
I think they're trying to preserve Gurley though, but even in the Super Bowl, C.J. Anderson got the most of the touches.
Right.
Ride the hot hand.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to last too much longer, to be honest with you.
But now here's the thing, though. You think the Rams' offense is doing good? They got Cup back. Cup was out
Yeah.
second half of the season last year.
No, speaking of Cup, I have him in fantasy, and he hasn't been producing the last couple of weeks, so I've been paying attention to that. That's odd, but yeah, I don't know. And Woods was out last week. Cooks has been out. So I guess they're kind of hurting at receiver a little bit with injuries and whatnot. But
I do think another thing is with Chicago not having the offense, that defense is going to start getting wore out and tired.
no,
You can't
yeah.
have
Yeah.
the defense out there for.
Well, I
Yeah,
think
that's right.
they're going to give up. I mean, you could tell in some games. I think towards the end of the game, they're just kind of like, screw this. I'm not. There's no effort.
I guess the big
Yeah.
question is who really won that trade for Mac.
It's looking like Oakland.
Yeah, it definitely is looking like Oakland.
Because I know with Oakland they were kind of they traded Chicago and they traded Dallas. With Cooper also they were trying. Gruden was trying to hope and anticipate he'd have at least 3 top 10 picks if that.
Yeah.
Didn't end up being that way, but they made the most of how they drafted. So
I think I heard Gruden say they had 5 picks in the top 90 next draft.
Oh,
so
that's pretty good. That's pretty good.
question with that now is Carr the guy?
We'll talk about that.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a minute. On to the next game. The Patriots and the Eagles. The Patriots took that one 17-10.
Shocking.
Yeah, shocking to say the least. But Philadelphia had a chance late. They couldn't tie it up. But New England are who we thought they were. They're 9-1 on the season and just playing lights out on defense.
I think Brady's kind of fallen off though.
Yeah, a stat that I seen the other day was Brady has 3 games this season without a touchdown. So they're still 9-1 though. Brady's doing enough in between the 20s, I think.
Well, that defense
Yeah.
is really carrying them.
Oh man, the defense, and they've got a pretty solid run game also.
Yeah.
So Brady's living the dream right now at 9-1.
And the Eagles, I don't think they're that great anymore. I think they fell off quite a bit too.
Here's the question with the Eagles: should they have kept Foles?
Oh,
No, Foles can't make it through a whole season.
These aren't good wins.
Yeah.
that's
So
true.
they're screwed.
Yeah, we'll see what happens with Philly. I mean, I'm really surprised with they've got Alshon Jeffrey. Where's he at?
Making hamburgers.
Good old Sean Jackson.
He ain't doing shit. Yeah, I don't know. The next game we're going to talk about, we're going to go back. We started talking about the Raiders a little while ago. They won 17-10 against the Cincinnati Bengals. Wow, the Bengals. Working on that number 1 pick.
Is it gonna be Tua? No.
I don't know, after that injury. Probably not. They definitely need a quarterback, though, but I think they need a lot more than that, too.
Here's a point that I have about the Raiders. They have the Jets coming up, and with that being said, that's definitely a winnable game. And if they win that game, the division's going to be on the line versus the Chiefs the following week because the Chiefs have a bye. So, you guys think they're going to get that one against the Jets
I
and
think
put
so.
the division on the line?
I think so.
I do too. I mean, Darnold's kind of coming onto his own, but I mean, if you look at Le'Veon Bell, what happened to the Pittsburgh Steelers Bell?
Right.
He's gone. He went to the Jets. That's the problem. It's the Jets, I think.
I think that
Kind of like the Browns. The Jets are kind of a dumpster fire.
I do think though it kind of shows what an offensive line can do for a running back.
I agree because say what you want about Pittsburgh, but they definitely have a solid coach in Tomlin. They have a great line and Bell behind that line, and they had AB. So there was a lot of offensive weapons there in Pittsburgh, and I just don't see they don't have enough in New York.
I think a lot of it goes back to too. They don't have that veteran in Big Ben.
Right.
Mason Rudolph. But anyway, what do we think about the Bengals? We know the Raiders are doing well, but how about the Bengals? What about A.J. Green?
It seems like he can't stay healthy.
No. I'm actually shocked that they didn't trade him at the deadline.
Yeah, same.
Everybody thought they were going to. New England was a team I heard that was interested, but
The way that I mean, they're obviously in rebuild mode. I mean, you gotta start looking shopping. Green,
Hmm.
Dalton, is Mixon in the mix-in.
no, he's young enough though. What about Geno Atkins?
And
He's
Carlos,
what, 30?
and Carlos Dunlap.
Yeah.
I mean, those are two anchors they've had in defense for the past.
You kind of got to do what the Raiders did. I mean, everybody thought they were crazy for doing what they did, but
Just
it,
stock
everybody was like,
up.
"Oh, that's so stupid. Why would you get rid of your best defensive player?" Because you can't when your whole defense isn't good. You can't
Mhm.
pay all your money to one defensive player.
Right.
It just doesn't make any sense. You got to get younger, and I think that's what they're going to have to do. And I don't know. They've kind of been that team in that division that's always been at the bottom. Well, I guess the Browns have been at the bottom, but
They were kind of like
they're one of those teams like with Marvin Lewis. They'd make it to the playoffs, they'd get eliminated.
Hmm.
I mean, they just never got over the hump.
Yeah, they just never had that it factor once it came playoff time.
And I think Andy Dalton's going too, so obviously.
So on to the 49ers Cardinals game. The 49ers took that one 36-26, but it was a lot closer than what the final score showed. They scored some points pretty late in the game to walk away with that victory. Are the 49ers who we think they are at 9-1?
That's a tough one.
I'm
I'm not really sold on them.
I think the main key anchors on defense is you got Sherman.
Mm-hmm.
And say what you want, but it seems like Bosa's really taken over with being how young he is. I mean, there's a lot of turnovers they're creating on the defensive side of the ball.
Right.
Jimmy G's kind of coming back into his own.
Emmanuel Sanders was a good pickup for him too, a receiver.
I know it's kind of hurting San Francisco not having Kittle, but Kittle will be coming back in a few weeks. That'll bolster that offense up again.
As good as they are, I'm just not sold on them yet. I don't know. Some of the teams they've played really haven't been that great.
Right. That's kind of the New England discussion there too. New England had some pretty easy teams early, and then they did get beat by the Ravens. But on the Cardinal side of things, is Kyler Murray Russell Wilson 2.0 or something along those lines?
I think it's too early to tell. I definitely think the past few weeks he's kind of coming into his own. I actually thought they might win this game, but you got a lot of people that talk shit about size, and I don't think that really matters nowadays.
Right.
Well, I think we're getting to the age now where your pocket passers going out the window. You've got a couple left with Brady, Big Ben, Phillip Rivers. Now you're starting to see the Watson. Mahomes is agile enough to get out of the pocket.
Lamar.
You can't be a statue back there anymore. It just doesn't work.
Yeah, you have to have some mobility. Even Aaron Rodgers, he does play as a pocket quarterback, but he has the mobility to get out of the pocket and stretch the play.
No.
I do think, though, if you're Arizona, I mean, especially with Murray, you got something to be excited about.
Yeah, I do agree with that.
They've definitely started their rebuild, and I think they're doing a
going
good
all
job
right.
so far. Yeah.
Yeah,
Still with
you're right.
Fitzgerald there.
I think he'll probably be gone here.
Oh,
How much longer
Yeah.
can he last?
Time's creeping up.
Yes, it is.
The next game we got was Buffalo and Miami, and Buffalo beat the Dolphins 37-20. Not a whole lot to talk about in this game. I mean,
The only thing I can say about it is the Bills are 7-3, and I seen a stat about that. They're 7-3 for the first time since 1999.
no.
So the Bills have a lot to be excited about.
And the Dolphins aren't the worst team in the league anymore. So
That's good.
So we can go to the Colts and the Jags. Colts beat the Jags 33-13. Jacoby Brissett was back in that game, correct?
Yes, he was.
And Nick Foles was playing.
Foles.
Yeah, the Jags actually jumped on him early. It was a 7-0 Jaguars, but then Brissett settled down and ended up
For a while there.
tying it up.
For a while there, it kind of seemed like Foles was going to go off again with his first game back.
Right.
Colts really haven't done that bad since Brissett took over. I mean, everybody thought when Luck retired it was the end of the world, but they're on top of that division with the Texans. So
Yeah, that matchup is actually coming up this week also, and the Colts are 6-4, the Texans are 6-4, and there's going to be a a game for the top of that division. So
Do you guys think whoever wins that game is going to be the winner of that division?
I think that's a pretty fair assessment there.
I do think so. I know with Indianapolis now they're going to have to kind of look for a running back. Marlon Mack's out with a fractured hand for a few weeks.
Mm-hmm. That happened in that game, I do believe.
They did have their backup came in and stepped up, but we'll see what happens.
And we need Minshew Mania back, man.
Yeah, I hear it.
Come on now.
Okay, so on to the next one.
Uh-oh. I know Lucas wants to talk about this one.
My Dallas Cowboys beat the Lions 35-27. I was not impressed with the defense. We did enough to get the win. Dak went off for 444 yards. But what's your guys' take on the Cowboys?
I guess starting out, Dak's gonna get paid.
Yeah.
Dak definitely looks like the guy. As much as they don't want to say that, but he's out there making plays every week.
I mean, he's throwing for 300, 400 yards every week. He's leading. If I remember right, is he leading the league?
Yeah.
Yeah, we get New England next week, so
the defense I think needs to step it up. The defense isn't playing as good as I think they should, and Zeke's kind of getting stuffed.
Yeah.
So
I agree with that.
I do think though with Zeke, which is good, you guys aren't having to rely on Zeke too much.
Yeah,
Dak's actually taking the leadership role, and he's actually getting the ball moved down into the red zone. So
yeah, I agree with you there. But yeah, Zeke only had 45 yards and a touchdown, but still, 45 yards is not what we were hoping for out of the top paid back in the league, man. And we've got a good O line, but Dak tore it up, so
you got to ride the hot hand.
Yeah, ride the hot hand. We'll take the win. So on to the next one.
And we got New Orleans and Tampa Bay. New Orleans ended up pulling that one out.
Shocking. Jameis Winston.
Good old Jameis.
What's funny about Jameis Winston is he leads the league in interceptions with 18. Yet Mike Evans and Chris Godwin are two of the top 3 receivers in the league.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It makes no sense to me. I mean, they need a new quarterback. He's just not. Like we were talking about before, he said he's like Brett Favre.
Mm-hmm.
But Brett Favre won championship.
Right, he actually won. He actually put the team on his back and took him through the playoffs.
I think Winston's just throwing the ball. I mean,
no, I do think if you're going to look at Tampa Bay, yes, they've had receiver success, but I think it all goes back to the head coach.
I don't know. I think Arians is a good coach. I mean, he just took over this year, and I think he was giving Winston a chance. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, I agree.
And since this was his first year there, right? So, I mean, after this year, I think they're going to draft a quarterback.
Well,
I mean, he's done.
If I remember right, I think Winston is a free agent.
Is he? Yeah,
So-
because they haven't signed him to that big deal.
Yeah, we're going to be seeing Winston, Mariota, Newton, Rivers.
There's going to be a lot of people in different spaces.
Yeah, I definitely think so. The Saints did get the win, 34-17, and Drew Brees, another 3-touchdown performance.
Here's my question.
Are the Saints back? I know they lost. Are they back on track, or was this just a crappy Bucs team?
It seems like the Bucs always playing pretty hard, though, being in that division. They're still a good team. I think they're back on track.
Michael Thomas.
They were tearing it up with Bridgewater,
yeah.
when Breeze was out. So
Now here's the question, since we're talking about New Orleans. Is Teddy going to be leaving? Or does Teddy take a pay cut to stay to hope one day take the throne from Breeze?
Well, like you guys were saying, the Bucs might be looking for a new quarterback. There's a few different teams. Maybe the Chargers might be moving off of Rivers. Maybe Bridgewater ends up somewhere else in the league. I mean, obviously, you want to be the starter.
I could see
if you're in the league,
I could
you wanna
see
be
Bridgewater with the Bucs or the Dolphins, to be honest with you,
Right.
because he's from Miami. He's from that area. I could see him going back there.
Now, here we are. Let's talk about the Minnesota Vikings
Oh.
and the Denver Broncos. I'm sure somebody wants to talk about this.
Oh,
that was a heart attack game. It felt like the Vikings playing the Bills last year, where they just got stomped because everybody thought they were going to win the game. 0 points for the Vikings in the first half. They just looked horrible. It was 20-0 at halftime. Then the Vikings, Kirk Cousins brings them back in a big way, and they go on to win 27-23. And there's a lot of talk about Kirk Cousins, but this year, I think he's proven the haters wrong. He's won 2 primetime games. He brought them back. I think they said they were 0-99 in a comeback like that, being down 20 points or more at the half. And they were the first team to do that. So I think they're on their way. And see, they're fighting with Green Bay in that division too at the top. The Bears and the Lions are in that division. They're not going anywhere. I mean, it's going to be between those 2 teams. So,
Speaking about Minnesota, who do you think is going to take home the rushing title? Cook or
Ooh.
McCaffrey?
Cooks is tearing it up.
I'm biased.
Yeah, but McCaffrey is more of a hybrid back. He's catching the ball out of the backfield a lot too.
Yeah.
But Cooks is tearing it up between the tackles, actually running it. So.
Now, Denver-wise,
It's another team.
Yeah, I thought Joe Flacco was going to be the real deal there.
I did.
But
I guess my thing is Denver's kind of learning what Baltimore had.
yeah,
Joe doesn't have the fire that he did anymore.
I don't think John Elway knows how to draft a quarterback. He doesn't know how to pick a quarterback. How many they've went through so many quarterbacks since he's been there.
Simeon,
I mean, it's awful. Osweiler,
If you want to go back,
Case Keenum,
Flacco.
Flacco. I was at Brandon Allen.
now what I think Elway should have did, I think he should have kept Tebow.
Yeah,
Tebow had that
that's
winning. He was a winner.
Yeah, that's an unpopular opinion, but for sure, I agree with you there. Just there was something about Tebow. He may not have been the best practicer in the world. I don't know what was wrong, why he lost the job. I know Manning came there the year after, but
I do think it's kind of a shame with Tebow because
he was such a great talent.
the way the league's shaping up now with more of a mobile quarterback, this would have been the time that I think Tebow would have shined.
Oh, I agree. I agree
Oh,
100%. So on to Jordan's team.
Uh-oh.
The Baltimore Ravens tore up the Houston Texans 41-7. Dominant performance.
Not bad for a running back, right?
Yeah, not bad for a running back, guys.
Mark Jackson had 4 passing touchdowns. Yeah, with Mark Ingram had 2 receiving touchdowns, which it's not really his forte, but
Take them when you get them, right?
No, I expected the Ravens to win this, but I did not think they were going to whoop on them that bad.
Right,
Because
right.
the Texans, Deshaun Watson's a hell of a quarterback. I mean, and I don't know what happened. I mean, they didn't show up that game. They just got dominated.
well, I do think from watching the game, that old line for Houston, Watson wasn't getting any time. I mean, they already
It's
had, I
true.
believe, 6 sacks in the third
Yeah.
quarter.
I think he's one of the most sacked quarterbacks in the entire league.
The O-line is bad, but give some credit to that Baltimore defense for getting after him, though.
We have made a couple accusations in the middle of the season. I think they're starting to pan out. The defense is starting now to actually work together.
Right.
And the Mars silencing the haters.
And Marcus Peters was a good pickup for the Ravens, too.
I will say, though, I'm happy that Baltimore got Marcus Peters than Ramsey.
Yeah.
Peters has had a bigger impact.
You haven't
Baltimore.
heard much about Ramsey since he went to the Rams.
Yep.
Oh, wow, the next game. Whew.
Woo.
Battle of the Titans.
Yeah.
It was the New York Jets versus the Washington Redskins. Ooh. Jets win 34-17. There's not a whole lot to say about these teams. I mean, they're both kind of
Oh, I think there is one thing to say.
dumpster fires.
I think if you see that score, you think that Washington would have played the Patriots.
No, that's true.
Not rarely do you see the Jets put up 34.
No, they do when they play the Redskins.
Now, here's a quick question. Do you guys think that Haskins is franchise quarterback in Washington?
Ugh. I think they fucked with his confidence. They put him in,
With
then they
Gruden?
took him back out, then they put him back in. I mean, you can't do that.
I mean, you got
You can't do that to a young quarterback.
Keenum sitting in
They've had who's the other guy they had this year? They had Keenum.
Colt McCoy.
Then they sat him. They brought Colt McCoy in. Then they brought Haskins in. Then they brought Keenum back in. Then they put Haskins back in. You can't do that.
Yeah, it's too much back and forth.
But they've always done that.
Yeah.
If my opinion on it,
That's where they are. Where they are.
I hope Haskins
Succeeds.
But if you look at the track record, Ohio State does not produce quarterbacks.
Yeah.
And another thing, Urban Meyer doesn't either. Braxton Miller, he's a receiver now.
Mm-hmm.
Terrell Pryor, where's Pryor?
I don't even know where he's at.
I don't even know now. Yeah, to be honest
But
with you.
on the flip side, the Jets did get the win. Sam Darnold is shaping up to be a pretty solid quarterback.
I think they're on the right track,
Right.
maybe.
That's kind of what I'm getting at.
But they're a ways away.
Right. It's still the Jets, but Sam Darnold has shown improvement, and so we'll see what comes with them over the next few years. So.
Here's a question with that. Who's he throwing the ball to? Robbie Anderson?
Yeah.
Is that about it?
Yeah, it shows on my stat sheet. Griffin had 5 catches for 109 and a touchdown. So yeah, they're no names. It's
Griffin, baby.
Yeah, I don't even know who that is.
Tell you what, I wish I had him in fantasy.
Yeah, I hear you there. Anyways, the next game is Falcons and the Panthers, and the Panthers were looking pretty good there with Kyle Allen, and then they've fallen off. They've lost 2 in a row, and then the Falcons have won 2 in a row. So
the Falcons are looking more like the team they were supposed to be at the beginning of the season.
Yeah,
but now it's too little, too late. You know
right,
what I mean?
The way they're playing now doesn't look like what their record shows.
Right, they're 3-7, but the talent coming into the season, I think we've seen a little more than 3-7 at this point.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. But they have caught fire the last couple games, so.
They have. And the Panthers, on the other hand, were off to a good start with Kyle Allen playing there, and now it's like, well, he's not looking. What do you have, 4 interceptions?
Yeah.
Yep, 325 yards and 4 interceptions for Kyle Allen. He's just not looking good the last.
Is he the guy now? I mean, do they get rid of Newton?
Do they go back to Newton?
I think if you're Carolina, you got to kind of field for Newton. If there's a trade partner, I'd make it.
Right.
Depending on what somebody's willing to get, like Chicago, you have the defense.
Mm-hmm.
You might be willing to give up a second, maybe even a first-round pick if you think he's the guy that's going to get you into that championship game.
Right. And then for the Panther side of things, you either exchange for better picks or maybe even
pick up a defensive player.
Pick up another
They've
player
got a lot of them, but they're not going to be able to pay. So
right, just to allow that talent to build around. I mean, if you get rid of Newton, though, you're going to free up so much cap space. So maybe you would have some cap to pay a player or two.
Say if I'm Ron Rivera, I'd be kind of worried about McCaffrey's. He's got a lot of touches this year. I believe I was looking at a stat. He's been hit or tackled the most out of any player in the league right now.
That's not good.
Normal running backs like that don't last.
No. And he's not a big guy either. So, I don't know. He's already been hurt, hasn't he?
Yeah. Just little minor stuff.
Yeah.
You can't run a whole offense for one guy.
No.
Now, heading into the Monday night game, we've got the Kansas City Chiefs and the Chargers. KC was able to pull that one out 24-17. What's your guys' thoughts on that game?
Kansas City is not as high-flying as they were last year, but they did lose Hunt, and Mahomes was down for a few games this season. So, I mean, is Mahomes back? Are we going to start seeing them making a late push for the playoffs?
Between them and the Raiders right now, I don't know, man. It seems like the Chiefs have kind of... See, Tyreek Hill went out in that game, too. We don't know how long he's going to be out. Watkins has been out for him. Mahomes has been out for him. They've got, LaShawn McCoy.
McCoy's hurt. Williams is hurt.
Yeah, I mean, they're dealing with a lot of injuries. Their defense isn't that great.
And if we've seen anything, a high-powered offense can't carry a poor defense.
You got to have a defense.
You have to have a subpar defense to match an offense.
I honestly think, I don't know. I think it's going to come down to them and the Raiders in that division. I mean, I think both of them are going to get into the playoffs. Now, whether the Chiefs do anything in the playoffs, I really don't think so. In the AFC, to be honest with you, I think it's it's the Patriots and the Ravens.
Right.
And I don't really think anybody else is going to match them right now.
Yeah, I
just
mean,
don't
any
think it's
given
gonna happen.
Sunday can always happen. But Kelsey had a monster performance, 92 yards and a touchdown, definitely helping Mahomes out. But on the opposite side of the ball,
Oof.
Phillip Rivers,
Old man Rivers.
4 interceptions, not a good look. He had 353 yards, but just not a good look. And the Chargers at 4-7. Is Rivers done? Are they moving on from him?
I think they need to. What they say, they're moving into a new stadium next year. That's another team. Look at the weapons. He's got good players. He's got Melvin Gordon, Austin Eckler, Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, Hunter Henry. Why are they not producing as much? I mean, that's another thing to me. Their defense isn't that bad.
Kind of like you tie into with Cleveland.
On paper.
Yeah.
You have the surrounding talent that can get you wins. Well, why isn't it translating?
And they were another team at the beginning of the year that everybody thought was going to be a lot better than what they were, too.
Yeah, a lot of people had them predicted to be in the playoffs.
Oh, yeah.
And now it's just not going to happen.
They're not looking good. I really do think they need to move off from Rivers.
And then
part of me feels like I think they resign him.
You think they do?
I think they resign him.
Yeah.
I think they'll resign him for at least another year.
I can see that, but at the same time, with potential Cam Newton, you got
Teddy Bridgewater.
Teddy Bridgewater. You got a couple quarterbacks that
I think they
might
could
be
be in
able
the
to fit into
sweepstakes.
this.
I don't know if they would draft somebody because I think they're a team right now that has a lot of pieces.
They want to win now.
They're in a window. You know what I mean?
Right.
They're looking to make that big trade to push them into the playoffs.
They're not like the Bengals or the Dolphins. Where
They're not in complete
you got to
rebuild.
complete start over. Yeah.
Right. They're not in a rebuild at all. They've got the surrounding talent. Just why isn't it happening with them? But anyways, that's it for our recap, guys. So
now we're going to head into this week's predictions for all the games. We're going to start with the Thursday night game, Colts at Texans. Who do you guys got?
I got the Colts winning at the Texans.
I got the Texans. I feel like Watson's going to get back on track after kind of the bad game they had in Baltimore.
I agree. I think the Texans win. Like we said earlier, I think whoever wins this game is going to be the winner of that division. So,
and yeah, both of you guys took the Texans because they're at home. I'm taking the Colts. I think Brissett keeps it going. I think the Colts defense keeps playing well, and I know Mac's out, but I think the run game stays powerful. I can just see it happening. I don't think it's going to be a super high scoring game, but
probably not.
I'm taking the Colts.
I could definitely see it could be a toss.
It could go either way.
Yeah.
I'm a Deshaun Watson fan, though. I think once he gets a good O-line, I think he's going to be one of the top 5 QBs in the league.
Yeah, I hear you.
His O-line is just terrible right now.
So the starting with the 1 p.m. games, the next one we'll talk about is the Broncos at Bills. Who do you guys got?
I got the Bills.
I've got the Bills too.
I got the Bills also. Flacco hasn't done much with the Broncos, and I believe the Bills take this one.
Flacco's gone.
So
Flacco's
remember?
on the IR.
Yeah, Flacco's gone.
They got
Brandon Allen now.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
See, that's what nobody does.
Yeah, I didn't even know that.
Yeah,
Did he get benched?
No, he got hurt. Didn't he?
Oh, yeah, hurt.
That's what they're saying, but I think there's always more to it.
Right.
Yeah. So they've had Brandon Allen the past few weeks, and I don't blame you for not knowing.
Anyways, we're all in agreement the Bills are going to win that one.
Yeah, the Broncos are terrible.
I do think with Bills, Allen's playing pretty good.
The defense is playing well.
John Brown's coming off a 2 TD performance over 100 yards. I think they've got it kind of pieced together right now. I think they're the better team.
Yeah.
So the next one is going to be another pretty tough one to predict. The Giants at the Bears.
Oof. I'm going Giants.
I'm going to go Giants.
I'm actually going Giants too, and I'm a Dallas fan, so I'm taking the Giants to win. I think that they've got a lot of positivity with Jones and Barkley. They got a lot of stuff going good for them heading forward.
And I don't think the Bears know what they're doing at their quarterback position.
This is what I will say. I do think, though, if you play fantasy, if the Giants if their defense is on the waiver wire, that's an absolute ad right there. They're not going to be going anywhere.
I agree. Yeah.
Chase Daniels might be able to push them.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, I think Chase Daniel looked better than Trubisky when he played.
I agree with that also.
So, but he's used to the Matt Nagy offense too from being in KC. So, I don't know.
We'll see what they end up doing game time.
Now the next game, Steelers at the Bengals. I'm going to go with the Bengals in an upset.
Woo!
They're going to get their first win.
Yeah, I mean, any given Sunday.
I'm not a believer in Mason Rudolph. He's not really playing that great. Yeah, the Steelers' defense is really good, but yeah.
I do think, though, a lot with the Steelers' success. I think I've noticed this from watching the games. I think Big Ben's on the sideline with a headset on.
Yeah, he's helping Rudolph out.
I think he is.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you guys got in that game? I got the Bengals.
I got the Steelers.
And I got the Steelers also. So I don't see the upset, but, any given Sunday, man.
I think Mixon runs all over him.
One thing I really didn't think of till now, Pouncey's out.
That's true.
Geno Atkins is probably going to be getting in the backfield a lot.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, but we'll see what happens. So
the next game we got is the Dolphins at the Browns.
This is another tough one to choose here. Dolphins are definitely not the worst team in the league anymore. But I got the Browns.
I do too.
I got the Dolphins.
Oh.
Dolphins are starting to score some points. I think they're starting to put it together. I do think
Okay.
Cleveland.
The only thing I can see with the Browns is all the stuff that happened last week.
It's a mess.
The fallout from that. Maybe they just can't get it on track because of all this negativity.
They don't have Myles Garrett anymore, and say what you will about him, he was at least disrupting quarterbacks. So.
And I'll be honest with you too. I got a question. Do you think if the Browns lose to the Dolphins, they fire Freddie Kitchens? Because a lot of people think that last week they could have fired him after that game, after what happened, because they said a lot of the players they think are undisciplined.
Right.
Because they said that defense was playing way hard. Yeah. Yeah, so I don't know.
And then the event.
And it'd be their way out of it. You know what I mean? Yeah. What happened last week, and now we get beat by the Dolphins.
Hey, I mean, there's one highlight to that. The Browns are using their logo more than one ways.
Okay.
But yeah, I do think the Dolphins pull it out, I think. Devontae Parker's starting to show up, finally. It's been a couple years, but I do think Cleveland's kind of in a meltdown mode.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that, but like I said, I got the Browns winning. I think Mayfield and company kind of is getting it together. They did beat the Steelers last week, and let's not forget, they won 21-7. Mayfield and company put it together at least somewhat in that game. So, anyways, on to the next one, the Buccaneers at Falcons.
I'm going to go with Falcons.
Yeah, Falcons have found it. They've gotten hot the last couple of weeks. I'm going Falcons also.
I'm going Falcons as well. Like I said earlier, Jameis Winston, he's a turnover machine. The Falcons are playing hot right now. Buccaneers aren't. That's a pretty easy decision, I think.
It sounds kind of odd, but I think it depends on what Jameis shows up.
Yeah.
Because you've seen him when he's hot. Very rarely.
Yeah. But when he does get hot, he can turn it up.
Well, the Falcons are playing at home too, so
yeah. I'm going Falcons. It's just a gut feeling.
Yeah.
I don't think the Buccaneers defense can cover Ridley and Julio. I think that will be your big mismatch of the week.
And like we said earlier, the Falcons on paper had a team that we thought were going to go 11-5. You know what I mean? So, but
they're starting to show that now. So
yeah, they're starting to show what we thought they should have been.
Yeah.
But anyways,
the next game at 1 p.m. Is Panthers at the Saints. I think the Saints pull this out. I think the Panthers are on a downfall right now. Kyle Allen hasn't been playing that well. Saints have been playing really good. That's kind of a no-brainer to me.
Yeah, I'm going Saints also.
I agree with that.
Can't really argue too much on that.
Next game, Seahawks at the Eagles. I'm going to take the Seahawks.
I've got Seahawks.
I've got Seahawks also, but the Eagles, once again, they've got a lot of talent.
Calm down, you're a Dallas fan.
I
Don't
know.
be giving compliments to
Well,
the Eagles. No.
No, it's all fair, man. I mean, Wentz is a hell of a quarterback, but I definitely see Seattle taking this game. I just think Wilson's going to be a little too much for the Eagles defense.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I agree.
I've got Russell Wilson on my fantasy team. I don't know. 4
Yeah.
touchdowns. I'm gonna call it right now. 4 touchdowns.
Well, he's
That's bold.
leading the MVP race right now. Him and Lamar.
We'll see what happens.
So yeah,
A couple more games left of the season. And the next game we got, guys, is the Lions and the Redskins.
I heard
that's going to be a barn burner.
I read online today that they're selling tickets for $5 to this game.
What?
Oh,
Hell,
Wow.
go to the children's zoo would
'Cause
be a hell of a lot more
nobody
entertaining
wants to
than
go
this.
to this. Driscoll still playing quarterback. Ugh.
He's playing pretty decent for being thrown in there.
Mhm.
Being
I
back
think
with back.
I think the Lions get it done. Redskins are terrible. Haskins is in a bad situation, and he has not been playing good since they've started him. I think the Lions get it together and beat them. So
Well, the Lions scored 27 points on Dallas's defense.
yeah,
So, but I mean, you know what? I've got the Lions on my pick'em sheet, but I'm going to change.
what?
I'm going to take the Redskins.
Holy
That's going to be
shit.
my upset this week. I think Haskins gets it pulled together,
Oof,
and you know what?
that's possible.
You guys each have a upset. I didn't really have one, so that's going to be my upset, and I made that on the fly.
There
So,
you
who
go.
do you got, Jordan?
I've got the Lions. I think they'll end up pulling it out. Redskins, there's too many questions. I mean,
That's another bad owner.
Yeah.
the way that everything was handled with Trent Williams.
That's terrible. The way they've handled that, the way they handled the quarterback situation, they're just
I guess the
They don't know what's happening.
biggest thing for me with the Redskins, Williams didn't want to be there.
hmm
Why do you not trade him? You're going to keep him for what?
I never understand
Yeah.
why teams do that.
Yeah, I don't either. Get something out of them.
Especially teams that a player's contract is coming up the
Mhm.
next year and you're not good. They're going to leave. Trade them.
Yeah.
I don't care if you get a 7th round pick for them. At
Better
least you're
than
getting something for them.
Right? Because you're going to lose them for nothing.
But
If
why
you let them
keep a player on your team that doesn't want to be there? You think they're going to give you 100%? Probably not.
Yeah. So, on to the next one. We got the Raiders at the Jets, and that is the last 1 p.m. game.
I'm going with the Raiders.
Same here. I'm taking the Raiders.
I agree. It's going to be the Raiders. I mean, Darnold's starting to get it together. I mean, it's kind of hard knowing who he's throwing the ball to. I do think Raiders have the better complete team, though.
They
Yeah,
do. Jacobs is killing it, I think.
I do think he runs for at least over 100 yards.
I can agree with that, but my thing about the Raiders, we dipped into it a little bit earlier, but if the Raiders win this game, the following week they get the Chiefs with the division on the line. So I think the Raiders have a lot more to play for than the Jets. That's just a gut feeling.
They do. And I have heard a lot of people talking today that they're on upset alert because the Raiders are going all the way to New York. You know what I mean? The time change,
Right.
I don't think that's going to be an issue.
I don't think so either.
I do think with that game, I'm going to say it's going to come down to the end of the fourth quarter. Carr's leading the league, right? Game winning drives, fourth quarter
I
comeback.
think so.
And they only beat was it the Bengals that they played? They only
Yeah.
beat them 17-10.
Yeah.
So it wasn't much of a game there, but I got the Raiders winning it, and I got the division on the line game next week circled on the calendar. I think that's going to be a fun one to watch next week.
All right. The next game is the 4:05 game. It's the Jags at the Titans. Who do you guys got in that one?
Tannehill, baby.
Woo!
I don't know. I think, for me personally, I think it's going to take a couple games for Foles to get back into it.
Yeah, it's going to be too little too late. I got the Titans winning it also.
Same with me. I got the Titans. I think they're a better team overall. I think the defense is better.
Yeah.
Derrick Henry. They got Fournette with the Jags, but I don't know. Jags. I'm not really sold on the Jags. I kind of like them better with Minshew, to be honest with you.
Minshew Mania was all
Yeah,
the
I
praise.
do. And I think Foles is one of those quarterbacks that
He's a damn good
he has
guy.
some good games in a row, but
Mhm.
he's not going to stay healthy. You're not going to win with him if you're playing a complete season. It's just not going to happen.
I understand with Jacksonville. I mean,
A lot of hype.
you're paying the money.
Mhm.
You want to see the return in
Yeah.
investment.
Right.
If it's me, I do think within this year or next year, I think it's going to be Minshew Mania.
Yeah.
Minshew will be the starting
I
quarterback.
can see that. So the next one that we're all excited about, the Cowboys at the Patriots. Ooh, you guys got the upset?
Ugh,
I've got to go with New England.
I'm going with the Patriots.
Like I said, I'm a Dallas fan, but I've got to be realistic. I think the Patriots are going to win this
I
one.
do think it's going to be really close.
I agree with that. I think for Dallas to win, Dak doesn't need to have a 400-yard performance, but I would say 285 yards, but a clean performance. He cannot turn the ball over. He cannot fumble it. Zeke can't fumble it.
I think
It's got to be a really solid, clean performance by Dak. It doesn't have to be mind-blowing, but it's going to have to be no turnovers at all.
I think for them to win this game, Zeke's going to have to run the ball. I mean, you're going to have to run.
All right, that's what I'm kind of getting at.
Kind of a throwback. You saw what happened with the Patriots with the Ravens. They ran the ball over the first quarter.
They ran it. They controlled the game.
You can't let Brady have the ball.
Nope.
I mean, back to that game, Ravens turned the ball over on fumble. What happened? Brady went down and scored
Yep,
within
and
a minute.
almost turned that whole game back around. Luckily, you guys got the momentum
For
back.
a minute there, you're thinking, oh, here we go again.
Oh, yeah, everyone was thinking that.
I do think, though, Dak's due for a slowdown game.
Yep.
I don't think Dak throws for over 250 yards.
It's weird because Dak's been playing really well. Even when they're losing, Dak's tearing it up stat-wise.
Yeah, he's got 3,200 yards on the season. But like I said, going back to what I said, for us to win, it's got to be a clean performance. The defense is going to have to do a little more than what they did against the Lions, giving up 27 points. The Patriots, say what they will about the competition they played, they do have a really solid defense. That's going to be the true test for Dak. And my hope as a Cowboys fan is that it doesn't turn into a Green Bay type of game where New England just jumps all over us 17-3 or something like that. We're not going to come out of that hole. It's got to be a close game throughout for us to have a chance.
No.
I don't think we can get down by more than 10, 14 points or that game will be done.
Especially with Brady.
Mm-hmm.
Now, next game we got is the 8:20 game. We got Green Bay versus the 49ers.
It's going to be a hell of a game. Both of those teams are top teams in their respective divisions, so I can see why they flexed that game to the Sunday night game. I don't know what the previous one was, but I do know it got flexed. I got the 49ers winning it, though.
I got the 49ers as well, and it's not because I'm a Vikings fan and I hate the Packers. I really hope the Packers don't win this game. I kind of think this could go either way.
I agree with that.
To me, though, if the 49ers are legit, they got to win this game.
This is a statement game.
If they lose this game, I don't think they're as good as everybody thinks they are.
And I've got the Packers. I think experience is going to come into play here. I think Aaron Rodgers tops Jimmy G.
Mm-hmm.
They've got the defense
I can see
to
that.
back it up. Aaron Jones is leading the league in touchdowns right now. We'll see what happens.
Yep.
That'll be a good game.
I think so, too. I think it will be a really good game. I don't think it's going to get out of hand.
I do think, though, I'd highlight that. That's probably, what do you guys think? Game of the week?
I would say, they flexed it for a reason. So they flexed it to the Sunday night game for that reason because it's two of the top teams, both teams leading their respective divisions. So it's going to be a fun one to watch.
The last game of the week, the Monday night game. I wonder who Jordan's got in this one. It's the Ravens at the Rams.
I got to have the Ravens.
Yeah, I'm going Ravens also. Going back to that Bears game, 17-7. Gurley kind of got it back, but I don't think the Rams are the same team as we seen last year.
They're not.
I don't know if the Ravens are going to tear them apart like they did to the Texans, 41-7 beatdown. I think it's going to be a little tighter of a game, but I do have the Ravens winning.
I got the Ravens as well. They're just playing too good right now. I mean, they seem to be beating everybody, and by large margins. I mean, it's
Yeah.
not just and like I said, the Rams just aren't. They're not as good as they used to be. So
I think the biggest thing for the Ravens is going to be as long as we can contain Donald,
Yeah.
run to the outside of him. But I know the Ravens are leading the league right now. I think it's 54.9% scoring on their drives. That's leading the league. I think Lamar tears it up again. He's showing that he's a passer first, not a runner. I think we're going to see one thing I'm going to highlight on that. We're going to see Marcus Peters. He's going to get an interception off of golf.
Okay.
I
Bold
can see
prediction.
that. I can see that. So anyway, I guess that's the end of the weekly predictions. Like I said, this was our first podcast, so we'll be back next week to do some more. Until next time, I'm Boner,
I'm Lucas.
I'm Jordan.
and we'll see you next week here on the Three Man